I don't care. We'll be together.
It's funny how we kind of trusted each other's opinion, though.
Yeah, because I was like, whatever. If that's where she wants to go, let's go. I don't care. But then when she started doing research on it, found the elevation and the pollution issue, and we just lived in, we were living in DFW, which was.
Hi, I'm Shannon.
I'm Abbey.
And today we're going to talk about how we decided to move here because there are a lot of choices and there's a lot of things to consider. I guess first we can talk about the country because there's a lot of countries that you moved to.
Sure.
So some of the criteria that we had on our list for a country narrowed it down to Mexico really fast. For me, it was I have to be within a decent flight distance to Florida and California because I travel there for Disney-related work. And so those are within just like a few hours to fly there. For you?
The travel of these two little guys, you guys caught us at Polly's nap time. He naps no matter what. But yeah, just for the dogs on how do you get your pet to another country? So they are too big to fly under the seat in an airplane, and I am not going to allow it to that. They ride in a cargo. I think that's absolutely horrid. But yeah, so Mexico was the best decision based for many reasons, but one being that we could drive down there with the dogs.
Yeah, and with those two criteria in mind, there really isn't another option. Canada, I suppose, but they're not going to have us that easily. So Mexico. But in addition, we both have been to Mexico so many times and liked it. So that was an easy thing to figure out. So that narrowed it down really fast. And then beyond that, we had to figure out what city. And this changed. So originally the plan was Mexico City. I'm a big city person, and Mexico City is one of my favorite cities in the whole world. It's like New York City, which is my actual favorite city in the world. It's got more mild, like moderate temperatures, but it wasn't going to work for us because with those cooler temperatures comes high elevation. And with a big city comes a lot of pollution. So those like mild temperature cities were off the table for that reason, because they're all at high elevation. Doesn't work.
Yeah, I can't live in a place that has high elevation. I have a vascular disease, which I think we'll probably end up doing a video and I can talk about that for awareness and everything. So I've had it. It's pretty severe. So I've had it now for, I was diagnosed with it like 5 years. It'll be 5 years ago this December. But so with that being said, it's not recommended for me to spend long periods of time in high elevation locations or even like long plane rides and things. It becomes very uncomfortable for me. So yeah, so that was easy to pluck things off the list that weren't going to work for us due to the elevation issue.
And when I started looking at ideal places for her, it said the beach because it's at sea level.
Okay.
And I was like, and guess what? Abby loves the beach.
I love the beach. I was so excited because I knew she loves Mexico City. And I have actually never been to Mexico City, which is interesting. She's never been in Puerto Vallarta. I've been to Puerto Vallarta, but I've never been to Mexico City, and she has been in Mexico City. And of course, I was like, okay, well, whatever she wants, we'll go. I don't care. We'll be together.
It's funny how we kind of trusted each other's opinion, though.
Yeah, because I was like, whatever. If that's where she wants to go, let's go. I don't care. But then when she started doing research on it, found the elevation and the pollution issue, and we just lived in. We were living in DFW, which was it's such a rat race, and so we were like, we don't want that. It's too crazy for us. So I remember exactly where we were at in the house. And
I remember asking.
She said, what about Puerto Vallarta?
No, I said, what about a beach town?
Oh, what about a beach town? You're right. You're correct. What about a beach town? And I was like, did she just say a beach town? Because is this Christmas? Because this is exciting. And I was like, okay.
There are two things that I remember asking you. One is, do you want to get married in Hawaii? And the other is, do you want to live in a beach town? Because I knew that I had come to the conclusion that it made sense in my head, and that if I said it out loud, you would love it.
Oh my gosh.
I do remember saying to you, how about a beach town in Mexico? And your eyes lit up because you were on board for the Mexico City thing, but you're a beach. I would say I'm sort of neutral on beaches and ocean. I have a big fear of the water, but I think it's very like calming and beautiful. So I like it, but it's not as high priority for me as it is for you.
Yeah, when she said that, I was like, oh my God, this is epic.
So then it was, okay, what city do we choose?
Right.
And there were some cities that were within like an hour of the beach too that were on the table originally. So let's just kind of talk about that. So I will say that on the east coast of Mexico, like the Yucatan, which is where I've spent the most time in Mexico personally. I don't know about
Well,
you.
it's very, yeah, Cancun and
That whole
all of
area.
that. Like, and that's where everyone goes.
And we lived in Texas, so it was actually a really short flight from there. So it was very easy to get to.
Mhm.
That side I have enjoyed trips to, but it wasn't for me a good option to go to a beach town because of a lot of reasons. One, the hurricanes tend to hit really hard there. Two, they've been hit with a lot of seaweed, and we've been there when we've had the seaweed on the beaches. It's not their fault, but it's just a thing that happens there. So that's an issue. But the third issue for me is also that the towns feel more like they cater to tourists and not have a city, local vibe. And I know that Puerto Vallarta is very touristy, but we'll get to it. But anyway, so there's just a few reasons that I thought, I don't think that's the right decision for us on that side of things. There's also cities that are a little bit inland, like Merida, that are close to there, but it's what, 110, 120 Fahrenheit?
Yeah, we talked about that the last video, that Merida was
Too hot.
It's hotter. It's pretty damn hot.
Yes. So that coast and including Merida and all the cities over there kind of got off the table for multiple reasons. And then there is the Baja Peninsula where things are more expensive and there's some reasons we didn't want that. So we kind of narrowed it down because I like cities and I wanted a local community outside of the tourist zones, but obviously wanted to be on the beach.
Yeah.
So Puerto Vallarta just met all the criteria for that.
And did. You know what? You know you're doing okay in life when that's the decision that you have to make. Oh, sad.
But there's people that like don't want the busyness and they don't want it, so they go to other cities or they want to go inland because they want there's lots of great information out there about all the cities. And in fact, the Mexico Relocation YouTube channel, they have a ton of videos where they compare cities, they give you detail, and that's where we got a lot of our information.
Yeah, but it's such a great resource. And again, it's linked in the caption below, so check them out.
But it was those videos that we first learned about the Mexico Relocation Guide. And then they're such geniuses at digital marketing because they got us with all this research.
Especially to grab her.
And then I was like, oh, wait, they've been very helpful with this. Now we can learn more by buying their products. And it was a good decision.
Yeah.
So we narrowed it down to Mexico. Then we ended up narrowing it down to Puerto Vallarta. And then we had to figure out the colonia or neighborhood that we wanted to live in. So then we had to do more research on all of the areas of Puerto Vallarta.
This was, I think, my honest Abbey opinion here, disclaimer, my opinion. This, to me, this process of picking what colonia to live in was equal amounts of exciting, scary, and frustrating because there's so many great places, but also too, seeing it in pictures versus seeing it in person. And we mentioned this the last time about people coming down and buying or renting property. Like, make sure you see it first. Like, do what we did. We got the Airbnb, stayed there, and then we looked for a place with a realtor. So for renting. But yeah, so I would say it was frustrating on the fact of there were so many options, but then you find yourself, you have your specifics. Everybody does this when you're looking for a place to live, regardless of what country you live in. I want this. I have my checklist of things that I want, and we always are looking for that perfect house. And there's no such thing as the perfect house. There's going to be something that it's not going to have. But anyway, there was a lot of places, but cost came into fact, and then the location, hills. So it was frustrating because it was like, oh my gosh, you got to find something. And then, but the fun part was looking at all the properties, was starting to discover the lay of the land kind of thing. And then the scary part for me was, oh my gosh, what if we don't find something? Oh my gosh, what if we find something and it's not right for us? And, all sorts of anxiety that can hit you with this kind of thing because you're leaving what's familiar and going somewhere where it's not. So,
And I think just like every country and every city has its pros and cons, all the colonias also have pros and cons. And there are lots of like articles and videos just about that for Puerto Vallarta. I'm sure it exists for all the cities. And so just in like taking all that information in, we knew, first of all, we're not doing the Zona Romantica, which is the tourist zone. We like visiting there.
Yeah, it's a great, you know what, if that's your thing, hey, that's totally cool. It's very fun. There's always something to do. And there's always something to do everywhere here. But that is in what we like to do, like would be drag shows and different things and whatnot. That's where to go. And it's got a lot of great places and whatnot, great shopping and stuff. But it's busy. And that's also where in the time, different times of year where it's New Year's or Pride or whatever's going on, that is the, mecca where a lot of that stuff happens. So the noise level is going to be something that's maybe an issue if that's you're like, I want to live there. But then, oh, wait, if you don't like noise and you don't want hearing people and things partying until 2 o'clock in the morning, then maybe that's not the best option.
But it's very convenient because
super convenient.
It's in the middle of the action and you can really walk to most of the like big events or activities and it's near the beach and all that kind of stuff. So
that's why I said, if that's your thing, great. That is for you. And I'm excited for you. And I will come and visit you and buy you an alcoholic slushie from Blondie's, which we love. Such a good little drink place.
We love visiting. We just don't want to be in it. So busy and loud was not something that we wanted. Personally, I don't like the slopes. The city is built, on a slope, and a lot of neighborhoods here have that. I have asthma, so the slopes are actually really difficult. And so I just knew I didn't want my neighborhood to be like that. So low noise, no slopes, but we don't have a car. Yeah. So we do need to be within walking distance of the things that we need to get to, like stores, hopefully the beach, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we settled on 2 colonias that we thought would be good contenders. One is Cinco de Diciembre. And I would say that neighborhood is very conveniently located near the romantic zone, near the beach, but it has a mix of flat areas and inclines. So not everything there is suited for me.
I would think that would be I would see Cinco as like your happy medium. Like you're right. So we live in Versalles, and Versalles is known to be the am I saying that right? District, great restaurants and stuff. So if you didn't want to live here and you didn't want to live in Zona, then you could live in Cinco, which is right in between it. And it's, you can go either way. So that would be ideal. And if you don't mind hills and stuff, that would be.
And Cinco still is close to the ocean, great views. So lots of things going for Cinco. But the other option was the neighborhood that we do live in, as Abby said, which is Versalles. So Versalles is where we suspected we would be happy. So the Airbnb that we booked to stay when we first got here was in Versalles, only a block away from where we actually ended up.
It's literally right behind here.
Right behind where we are. And so we thought Versalles is flat, has lots of good food, seems more like a neighborhood. There's still lots of locals. It's mostly locals. It's not gringos, but there are lots of English speakers throughout. It gives us a 12-minute walk to the beach. This is Shannon time. I don't know about you. A 12-minute walk to like the Costco area. And then it's also a 12-minute walk to the mall where my Spanish class is, but there's a lot of things there. Her gym.
Yeah, there's a lot. Here's the thing. I think the best thing to do is, I know this is hard because I had to do it. We had to do it too. Is I know you're thinking, okay, I want to be near the fun. I want to be like near this, but it's actually really important to say to yourself, what's my everyday life going to be like? What are the needs versus the wants? If you have pets, like that reason why we also picked this place was because of the vet system that's here in this colonia. And we were searching for places to seeing the ranking of veterinarians. And then also like different hospital locations and just, there's a Costco here. There's also a Walmart. I can ride my bike to the Walmart. It's not too bad. It's like heading up to, it's probably maybe like a 10-minute bike ride or something. But the point is that I think it's important. My advice is to think of your everyday realistic life. So that's where I would say what's important to me based on my health, my lifestyle, my partner, any pets or children.
And so we're very happy
Mm.
with the colonia that we're in. We're in Versalles. It feels like a neighborhood. It's
Yeah.
quiet. We can walk everywhere. A lot of the things that you hear about Puerto Vallarta being noisy are not here. They're usually the romantic zone or other parts of town.
Every once in a while, we hear the little booms from the
Fireworks.
the fireworks from the pirate ship, but we don't. It's nothing that we're not up all night with parties or anything like that. So
no,
it works out really well.
We don't have. I mean, we're not in a condo that has like a rooftop, so we don't have sunset views. You don't have we can't get to the beach in seconds or anything.
Yeah.
But it works for us. So, like I said, pros and cons of everything.
Yeah. And ask yourself how often you're going to do that anyway.
We could walk 1 block and be eating at some of the best food we've ever had because it's so good. So like there are things that we absolutely love, and everything else is just outside of this area, and it totally works for us. So I think, we got lucky because the thing that we thought was going to work is working for us. But I think if you have like analysis paralysis, it's okay to just like make your best guess and then rent for a while and see how that goes, or get an Airbnb for a while and see how you like it in real life. And for us, it worked out, and now we're here, and we love it.
So I like the decision here of being here. But again, like Shannon said, it's important that when you make this, don't dive in and sign a lease immediately, because if you don't like it,
or buy.
Because if you don't like it or it doesn't work out, then and you have to think of the longevity. What is this going to be for me in 5 years? What is this going to be for me in 3 years or something? So please, have some grace with yourself and choose wisely. But it's more of, I like the Airbnb. Like that was smart. Like doing the Airbnb for 6 weeks and then giving your time to look and we had our tour guide also help us out. She is fantastic. So if you are coming down here, please send us a message or comment and we can give you her information. She is a great local tour person.
And what Abby's talking about is 2 days after we arrived, we had a tour guide take us around so that we could see all the neighborhoods and get a feel for it before we started looking at properties, because we started looking at properties a few days later.
And she's been living here for 20 years. So she's very kind. She's very laid back. She picked us up and took us around and even took Shan to a taco stand, one of her favorite taco stands. And she just has a great personality and such a welcoming and ease of just like, okay, well, this is this, but it may be different for you or however you want to do it. So there's no pressure, nothing like that. So if you want our information, please comment and then we'll send you a message or respond or however that'll work out. We'll get that information to you.
Yeah. So we're happy with our decision, but if you're in the research phase, I recommend going on YouTube and looking for, things about the country, things about the cities, things about the neighborhoods, that kind of thing to help you narrow it down, because the right answer is going to be different for everybody depending on their circumstances.
And you can always send us messages too, whether you want to comment on here or if you want to send us a message on any of their social media platforms. Don't hesitate and don't feel like I really makes me sad when people are like, well, I don't want to ask a stupid question. And I'm like, that's no stupid questions. It's just silly if you don't ask it. So, just ask it. So no big deal. Anywho.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. If you want more information about moving, feel free to search on YouTube like we did. And then the link to the Mexico relocation guide is in the description.